Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Alex and welcome to the second video in our Google Sheets series. In today's video, we're going to be talking about changing the appearance of our Google Sheets. So let's jump straight in. I'm going to go down to the corner here. Let's take a look at our different steps and our goals for today's video first in my keynote. Okay, so video 2, changing appearances. Okay, the first thing is we need to finish entering the data in our exercise log that we had started. After that, we're going to be working on appearances. So we're going to change our columns, our rows, the fonts we use, the colors of the boxes or cells, and also adding lines. All right, let's jump straight in with our first goal, finishing entering data. Okay, so last time we were talking with each other, we left off at this step. Let's take a look at my exemplar one more time. Do you remember that my exemplar had all of these different numbers? These numbers represent that on January 8th, 2018, I did 4 sit-ups. And on that day, I did 5 push-ups. 3 burpees on that day, and also on that day, 9 jumping jacks. So then on the next day, I did 2 sit-ups, 3 push-ups, 1 burpee, and 5 jumping jacks. So these are totally random numbers, I'll be honest. What we're going to do is I'd like you to also, this is kind of funny, sometimes it doesn't want to let me switch to the other tab. What I'd like you guys to do is something similar. Let's go ahead and write in a number between 1 and 20 for each of these different boxes. And here's a pro tip. When you enter it, when you enter it, go ahead and click the cell, hit the number. Then if you'd like to go down, you can hit return or enter. Notice how easy it is. I hit the number and then enter or return. I'm just doing some examples of data that on those days I did those exercises. Let's make them random, again, between 1 and 10. Oh, sorry, I said 1 and 20, didn't I? Here's another tip. What if you don't want to go down, but you want to go to the right? Let's try entering by clicking the cell, a number, and then tab. When we tab over, we can move to the right. And we can also then go down by using return. Oh, I got 45 by accident. I'll go back. And watch when I type over it, it will just replace it. Okay, let's try doing tab here. 1, 1, and now when I hit enter, it brings me down to the next one. Hey, that's pretty cool. Oh, missed one. So go ahead and type in some random data for your table, just to imagine. I'll do a big number. Let's do a really big one. Yeah, the 16th, I had some energy for my burpees. Lucky number 13 there. Let's go 4. Oops. I'm just using enter and I'm using tab, just kind of going around my table. Oop, I got 1 extra. Cool. So when you've got your table populated with a bunch of numbers and data like that, let's go ahead and proceed to the next step. So we finished entering data. Let's try resizing our columns. Okay. Do you see the letters? There's A, B, C, D, E. It's all the letters of the alphabet. Those are called columns. And then do you see on the left numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are called rows. So earlier in the first video, we talked about resizing the A column by selecting it and then pulling it. Pretty easy. But what if our information is hiding like this? Do you notice I'm starting to cut off the edge of some of these? Here's a pro tip. You can double-click the edge of a column or a row, and it will go to the smallest size that still shows all of the information. Cool. Now, how about if we wanted all of these to be the same? Let's start by clicking and dragging across the column name at the top. So now when we have all of them selected, let's try resizing one. Did you notice how all of them now are the same size? Let's do the same thing and try and make it smaller. That's pretty cool. Let's even combine the same idea with a double click. Cool. Now B, C, D, and E are all resized to their smallest size while still showing all of the information. I'd actually like them to be the same size, so I'm going to just pull it out a little bit. Kind of find the right size, kind of play around there. That looks pretty good to me. I'm happy with that. Awesome. Let's go back to our goals. Okay, let's go down to the next one, resizing rows. Let's do the same thing. Let's click on row number 2 and let's try making it wider. Cool. That doesn't really help me. That's actually kind of confusing looking. So I'm going to undo with my back arrow. Let's try selecting all of our rows and let's do the same idea. Let's try dragging it down a little. Awesome. That looks pretty good. That kind of helps me to understand the content because of the way that I've designed it by adding some extra space. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Let's change fonts and then cell colors. So we could click one cell and we can go up to the font box in the font menu and we could choose any font. Let's try Georgia. Small change. Let's try one of these weird ones, impact marker. I'm sorry, that was permanent marker, my bad. Let's try changing, how about all of these? By selecting, I drag. Let's go ahead and change all of those to permanent marker. Hey, that looks pretty cool. Let's try changing the fonts of the dates. Let's choose a different one. Indie flower. There, that's a good one. Hey, this looks pretty good. Now, what I want you guys to do is consider the audience for this document is ourselves. We're making it for ourselves. So because we're doing it for ourselves, anything is fine that you like. You're making it for yourself. But if this was, let's say, for your job or for school or for someone formal, these fonts would not be okay. These are way too casual. Let's try changing all of the fonts of the entire document and finding one that's a little bit more appropriate if it was for school. Here's a really cool button. Let's click this little button in the corner. And now it just selected everything. Let's try going to font and let's try changing it to something else. I think Calibri or Times New Roman or Arial are all fine. I'm going to go with Calibri. Hey, that looks pretty good. It's not quite as boring as Times New Roman, but it's still appropriate looking if it was school. And what's bugging me, I want to just pull that out just a little. Cool. So our next goal is changing the cell color. Okay, let's try changing the cell color after we make this a little bit bigger. I'm just feeling like the title section is kind of on the small side. I'm going to go ahead and jump up from 10 to 14. That looks pretty good. Much better. So while I still have those selected, let's go ahead and click on this little fill color. It's a paint bucket that's spilling over. And I want you to notice there's the first row, the second row, and then the third row. These are all the lightest colors. So these will look great if you have black font. I'm going to go ahead and use yellow, like my exemplar. Nice. Let's click off anywhere. Hey, that looks great. Let's go ahead and click and drag and highlight all of those other dates. And let's do the same thing. Let's make it yellow. Cool. This is called our header row. And this is called our header column. Inside is our data. Awesome. Now we're ready to do our very last step, which is changing the grid lines. You'll notice that the lines now are all this light gray. That color means that when we print it, it's not going to be visible. If we want it to be visible, we're going to need to make it black. Don't worry, it's pretty easy. Let's select all of the data inside and not our header rows or header columns. Now let's go up to this button that says Borders. Go ahead and click that. And the first one that looks black, everything is selected. We're going to click that one. But take a notice of all of these other ones. So this would be the inside, not the outside of what we have selected. This would only be the center, horizontal line, the center vertical line, the outside, the left, the top, the right, the bottom, or none. We're going to select everything and make it black. Did you notice what happened when I clicked it? Everything got its own black line. So now if we printed this on paper, those black lines would show up. Hey, that looks great. We got our header row and our header column looking pretty good. Our grid lines are done. So in our next video, we're going to be working on some formulas. We're going to be adding this section down below. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.